People think that when you have liposuction, the bad fat is going to go somewhere else. Well, I'm going to surprise you because that might be quite possible. Let's look at two twin brothers, Tim and Tom. Both of them were stars on the high school football team, in great shape, always looked up to by the other guys and some of the girls in school because of their athletic ability, their good looks, and their lean muscular builds. But when Tim and Tom finished school, they both got busy with work and family, didn't have as much time to stay active or go to the gym or eat correctly, and they both started seeing changes in their bodies. Like most men getting older, when they looked in the mirror, they noticed they both had gained some fatty deposits in undesired areas of their bodies, such as the love handles, belly fat, and saddlebags in their thighs. So what did they do about it? They got together and made a pact. They promised to go to the gym more often. They increased their cardio and decreased their caloric intake. But they both still found that they could just not get rid of stubborn fat in certain areas. They were, like most of us men, starting to wonder if their fit bodies were slipping away right before their eyes forever, and they were starting to lose the battle of the bulge. To understand this frustrating question of stubborn, resistant pockets of fat, let's look back through history, at men in the Ice Age. Evolutionarily, it just makes sense that Mother Nature probably layered in some fat cells in men programmed to enlarge in the wintertime so that our ancestors, the cavemen, could survive a long, cold winter, sort of like a squirrel storing up nuts. We call this caveman fat. Now, these days, in the modern age, even though we have houses and food supply in the winter, so we don't need this caveman fat for survival, but because of history, this caveman fat is still around, programmed to enlarge with hormonal changes of aging. Tim, frustrated about his stubborn caveman fat, couldn't take it anymore and went to see a doctor to remove it with traditional liposuction. But Tom had heard from some friends and medical sources on the internet about the possibility of getting rebound fat in other areas after surgery. This brings us to the scientific hypothesis of rebound fat, which we call catch fat or compensatory adipotrophic cellular hypertrophy. Catch fat is the idea that if Tim has liposuction, he could get pre-existing pockets of fat in other areas that may compensatorily enlarge after surgery if he doesn't either decrease his caloric intake or increase his caloric burn rate with exercise after surgery. It's just the simple math of calories in and out of the body and where those calorie storage cells are located. That's when Tom went to another doctor who talked about the power of body banking. Body banking may be able to help prevent catch fat. This is the way the other doctor explained the strategy of body banking. You see, growing up, the average human can have 10 to 30 billion fat cells. This finite number becomes set at adolescence and levels off. As we move into later life, biochemical changes of hormonal metabolism in concert with lifestyle changes, including more a sedentary existence and increased caloric intake, leads humans to collect visceral and subcutaneous pockets of fat that settle into the abdomen, flanks, thighs, neck, and lower gyno chest in men. As people gain and lose weight, even with this yo-yo cycle of triglyceride accumulating lipogenesis and fatty breakdown known as lipolysis, although the size of the cells become bigger or smaller, the basic number of lipocytes in each area pretty much remains constant. That's precisely why body banking is the game changer. Body banking physically removes lipocells from unwanted areas. Then the cells are transplanted for structure and volume into desired areas such as the chest, shoulders, traps, glutes, biceps, quads, serratus stripes, calves, abdominal highlights, and forearms to create a more youthful and desired masculine muscular contour. Not a drop of fat is wasted. Post-operatively, the guys can achieve a beefier appearance. Just think about great sculptors throughout history. The best ones didn't just take away clay from their sculpture and just toss it. They subtracted it from an undesired area, but added it right back into another place to give a better, more masculine fit and muscular appearance. With body banking, the lipocells are the clay that can help the surgeon with addition and subtraction to make a superior work of art for Tom. The biological clay isn't thrown away and isn't wasted. So Tom not only shrinks the ugly fat in his belly and his love handles, but he in fact, at the same time, widens his shoulders, gets a beefier chest and glutes, and makes his traps and calves pop. The other interesting thing that happens has to do with the metabolism of the body. Let's go back to Tim. After conventional liposuction, unless Tim eats less or exercises more, he may be at risk for possibly getting catch fat or rebound fat. However, it may be possible that when Tom gets body banking, he will be less likely to get rebound fat. This is because the carbs from a bagel in the morning or a baked potato at dinner may now travel through the bloodstream and find the areas that have been banked with structural cells, and thus may be less likely to just be parked as visceral belly fat or catch fat in other new, undesired areas. After hearing the logic of the body banking strategy, Tom was convinced, had the body banking procedure, and now is back at the gym and doesn't have to worry about that stubborn fat around his flanks, and he can also relax and have a bagel in the morning, or maybe even boldly eat a slice of apple pie after dinner and feel good that it may be lifting his chest, widening his shoulders, and making his traps pop while less likely to show up as belly fat. Tom was happier, felt more confident with professional and personal relationships, and better in his clothes, and he felt very satisfied to have won the battle of the bulge and his new old body back for the rest of his life.